zoom out on a Bitcoin chart. It demonstrates one very clear thing, the 4-year cycles that we've all been very used to over the years. That is, if you zoom out, this parabolic move that has happened like clockwork every 4 years, leading to altcoin season and altcoin explosions like clockwork, likely completely canceled, completely over this cycle. And just zoom out on a simple Bitcoin chart on the weekly, and it demonstrates it very clearly. This is a very good thing for crypto. This is a very powerful thing for the altcoin charts. The risk score for altcoin market cap sitting at a very low 22. ADA looking insanely primed. I want to give some context into the ADA charts right now across these cycles, but I also want to zoom in on the daily in terms of price action. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, get access to our risk models, our exit planners, our autonomous AI to strategize how to plan these cycles. Right now, I'm just going to throw it out there for you. We've just implemented a limited time 7-day free trial. So just check us out. If you want to get in there, now is the time. I want to start with a clip from Bitwise. This is the CEO of Bitwise. I'm sorry, the CIO of Bitwise. Listen to this clip, and then we're going to just discuss the data. If you're an altcoin holder, a Bitcoin holder, need to pay attention to exactly what he is saying. Ditch the old notion. Listen.
The reason I think it's probably not going to play out over 4 years is I think that's a longer inflow of capital than retail hot ball of money, which was the past 3. And then secondly, we have yet another of those catalysts in November, which is the election completely changing the game in terms of institutional adoption. So even if the ETF-driven cycle would have built up, leveraged, and popped and receded, we have this second tidal wave that's just so much bigger than that first one. It's going to overwhelm it. So
he's talking about legislation. He's talking about the pro-crypto administration that we have on top of the ETFs, already talking about ETFs as kind of this massive thing for crypto that's changing the game. Institutional adoption is changing the game this cycle. But he's also talking about essentially what we've been saying is a new era for crypto. That's a tidal wave bigger than the ETF inflows. So he's saying even if ETFs were going to just bring crypto, Bitcoin up into this parabolic move and reset, we still have in play pro-crypto administration, the legislation that is being passed. The Genius Act just got passed. Clarity Act is still 100% in play as we go into the rest of Q3, Q4 of 2025. We are setting up an incredible macro move. And based on the 4-year cycles, the macro move should almost it should be over soon. But in my view, and I think Matt's view, that whole theory of the 4-year cycle, it's over. We've entered a brand new game, everybody, and we have to pay attention to this. The Bitcoin chart from a very simple analysis perspective shows that, but go to a Bitcoin risk model in our intelligence system. Look at how different the game has changed in terms of risk scores for Bitcoin. 65, cooling down, right? Then we're back into the mid-60s, cooling down for months over here. And right now we're at a 52. Maybe we're going to cool down. Look at every cycle so far. We've not gotten into these 90s or 100 area in terms of a Bitcoin cycle high. And that's because that move has not happened yet. We have a very kind of higher high, higher low, even playing field of accumulation that is happening. And I'm seeing a lot of, I think, a transfer of assets from retail to the big players because of this new game that is being played right now. So if you're a Bitcoin holder, if you're an altcoin holder, we have to pay special attention not only to risk score data and all the data that's involved in here in terms of price action and analysis. We cover, we've been covering the charts. There's a couple inverse head and shoulders on Bitcoin. We pay attention to those things, but pay attention to the fundamentals that Matt was talking about in this clip. That is institutional adoption, ETFs, pro-crypto legislation. And when it comes to ETFs, everybody, you know what's crazy? Right now, we are at the very beginning starting line. We know back in 2024, Bitcoin ETF got approved and went live or whatever. Now altcoins are entering that era for themselves. So when we look at the steady growth of Bitcoin, I think we're going to see something very similar with altcoins. And this is what altcoin market cap is looking like right now. A risk score of 22 for altcoins. I specifically want to mention that and just kind of break that down for a moment. Then I want to look at ADA analysis. But before I do, I saw this post in terms of cycles, Bitcoin gains, crypto gains. This is iTrustCaptial, sponsor of today's video. Are your taxes eating into your recent Bitcoin gains? I don't know about you. When I'm planning macro moves, I'm always thinking about my taxes, because if it's not in something like an IRA, there's consequences for making moves, whether it's short-term or macro moves. So they mentioned kind of a few points in terms of the benefits of having an IRA. And just think about this. If you're a macro investor, think about this. Getting a crypto IRA with iTrust, they are the best in the game. Every time you take profits or adjust your holdings, and you might be doing this often, you could trigger capital gains taxes often without realizing it. So buy and sell Bitcoin 24/7 or altcoins. They have a ton of altcoins back here without triggering immediate taxes, as long as the activity stays within the IRA. You can make macro moves, macro trades within your IRA, and that year you don't even have to worry about taxes. Don't worry about anything. Potentially grow your crypto tax deferred, depending on the type of IRA you choose. Avoid yearly capital gains tax reporting or gains reporting, which means less paperwork and more time focused on your portfolio. So shout out to iTrustCaptial. Go get set up with them if you don't have an account. It takes minutes to set up your account, and there's just so many good benefits in terms of, making macro plans if you're a macro long-term investor. So let's go look at the altcoin market cap sitting on the monthly at this consolidation zone. We're at around $1.3, $1.4 trillion market cap. There's not been a breakout. And again, we are at the very beginning era of pro-crypto legislation that hasn't even passed yet. We got Genius. We're waiting on clarity, amongst other things, a pro-crypto SEC that wants to see innovation enter this game with clear regulatory kind of direction. And we have institutional adoption getting ready to happen for altcoins with the ETF. So what do you think happens on this chart on the monthly next? That's up to you. I know what I think happens. This is an amazing coiling. This is an amazing opportunity in my view. There's risk involved here. I'm not trying to sell you on altcoins or anything in particular, but I'm very much documenting, and I want to do it even in the midst of dips. I'm documenting my crypto journey, and I want to see how this plays out. And I'll put it all out there, everybody. I'm putting out the data. I'm putting out the data constantly to back up what I'm saying. I've even put together the intelligence system to really show you why I'm so bullish from a risk perspective, right? There's the Bitcoin risk model. I want to take a look. We've noted the altcoin risk model at 22. I want to take a look at the Cardano risk model. It's at a 37. I noticed something on Cardano charts, and I think it's so important to take this perspective into account right now. Look at how Cardano has been trading. We've already noted Bitcoin has been trading in its own way, higher highs, higher lows. But then I notice, and this is where things actually get interesting, I notice Cardano's trading in its own way, higher highs, higher lows. I went to the bottom back here, and this was like June 2023. And I was like, if we go to that swing high that we had back in December 2024, Cardano was up around 500% from lows. This gets me because I'm just like, how are people, and we've consolidated since, but there's a lot of people that are just like, Cardano does nothing. From bear market lows where there was massive opportunity, I was doing content on crypto, Cardano pumped 500%. I don't know how you're playing that move. I don't know how you're playing that game, but it pumped 500%. Now we're consolidating downward at 72 cents. But what I noticed was, even if you go to something like a Bitcoin chart, and I think there's great perspective here. If you go to something like a Bitcoin chart, and let's go to, what was that? That was June 2023. So like right around here, Bitcoin right now is up 330%. So from June 2023, August 2023 to, summer 2023, summer 2025, Bitcoin's up 332%. And yes, I do realize right now, if we measure Cardano's up 222%, but at one point it was up 500%. And all of this move, it's a powerful move. This is pre-bull market. Cardano is so poised, as are all altcoins, for just this massive run. And then I want to talk about the shorter term price action of ADA, but you go to the risk model for ADA, and this is where our system comes into play in terms of planning exits. And this is what our members are doing. I've opened up the free trial. I don't know how long I'm going to offer it. We have thousands of you are on the fence. You've kind of signed up, but you haven't taken that next step to just become a member and pay. I've opened up a 7-day free trial. You can go see what our system is about. Chat with Zero, our AI back there. plan your exits based on our risk model, set the alerts, see what you think of the system. But I'm saying, in terms of altcoins like Cardano, this one here, we are in pre-bull market area. It just is what it is. That is not a guarantee that we're going to enter a bull market and, lock it in now because it's 100% guaranteed we're going to the upside. That's not what the risk models are for. But if you want to evaluate, okay, well, is it a decent time or are we topped out? That's where this data comes into play. And it is screaming in our face that we are still in pre-bull market area for a very long time. Swing high, right, to the 40s, March 2024. Swing low. Swing high, 53. Swing low back in, this 31 area. And then swing high. We're at 37 right now. This is pre-bull market territory. You go to pre-bull market last cycle. Here's 40s, here's 30s back here somewhere, like boom, 34, September 2020. There's that parabolic move. So the purpose of this system is when the move finally happens, if cryptos really do get a parabolic move, even if it's a short-term parabolic and then we're consolidating and we're consolidating for months for another parabolic move, we start getting into these 70s, these 80s and 90s on a risk model. This is where I want to be alerted personally to start taking profits. But right now, we've very much been in, I think, an accumulation area. Right now, 37, a moderate buy in our intelligent system. We go to ADA on the short-term price action. Here's what I wanted to mention. In terms of the consistencies of Cardano right now, we have kind of this swing low, massive 50% move, boom, swing high. And with that massive move comes a lot of consolidation after, right? And then boom, swing high. Here we go, 65% swing low, a lot of consolidation and choppiness. Everybody wondering, are we going lower? What's going to happen? And then boom, now we're here again. 61% swing low, a lot of consolidation, a lot of choppiness. Everybody wondering, is it over for altcoins? Everybody picturing this. What's going to happen next? As we do enter at the end of Q3, Q4, a new business cycle, interest rates coming down, money printers going on, Clarity Act going to get passed, right? What happens next for something like Cardano when we're sitting at a risk score of 37? Again, no guarantees, but I'll tell you right now how I'm playing the game, and that's as a macro value investor in these altcoin charts. We've seen Cardano go from swing low to this swing high here, 500% gains. We're consolidating. If this keeps going, guess what? Those 500% gains from the swing low, right? If this plays out and we're hitting $5, we're at 2,300%. We go beyond that, right? We're at what? $9, $10. That's 4,000%. All the while I was doing these videos, and many of you have been here, people hating on me, Cardano's over. If this plays out and we're getting 1,000, 2,000, 4,000% gains, I'll just tell you one thing, all of that hate, all of that negativity, worth it. I'm focused on the data. I'm focused on the fundamentals. I'm focused on the macro game. I'm watching what the institutions are doing in terms of not just Cardano, but Bitcoin and other altcoins. This crypto space just entered a new era. This is requiring patience. I'm happy that we're all not getting 1,000, 2,000, 4,000% gains like clockwork. It shouldn't be that easy. Most things that are just, that you work for, that you plan for, they don't come that easy, everybody. So this is what the game looks like right now though, higher highs, higher lows. In terms of short-term price action for Cardano, I'm going to continue monitoring this Fibonacci. I'm not quite sure the bottom is in. I think the bottom is close. I posted that yesterday on my X page, but there could be some more downside as we maybe revisit the apex of this triangle. I'm looking at a swing low of around 60 cents as a support up to around 67 cents. I want to see what happens. Maybe Cardano needs a dip in that area, right? Maybe we are testing previous lows back here at the bottom of this apex, the bottom of the triangle. But all the while, I'm focused on the long term for the crypto space. I will anticipate downside to the upside. If we break above this 20-day moving average, I think then we can start really talking about watching, and that's right around 80 cents, watching for a more macro reversal in play. We already have the beginning hints of it. This swing high, that's a higher high from this swing low here. So boom, lower high, swing low, higher high, our first higher high. We're getting in a swing low. If we can put in a higher low, we could be setting up for the next higher high. So I'm watching for that macro momentum shift 80 cents is the area I'd be watching for. Anything below that, I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm not convinced. We're at 72 cents right now. To the downside again, down to 60 cents. I'll be watching for support for Cardano. It's normal price action. Even if you look at all these moves back here, all of these swing lows where everybody thought it was over, it's just normal price action that we are in right now with a risk score of 37 on Cardano. And we have 22 for altcoins. Altcoins are just hanging out. They're waiting, and I'm waiting too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you watching. Thanks to itrustcaptial for sponsoring this video. Go set up an account if you do not have one. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.